Welcome to this episode of Housing Market Insider. And in this video, I sit down with one of Tulsa, Oklahoma's top producing realtors, Sabrina Shaw. You're about to hear how she transitioned from corporate world of being an educator into the world of real estate, self-employment, and how she built a successful business. And despite the current real estate downturn, she's still consistently producing sales, bringing in more listings and more buyers into the market. I think you're really going to enjoy the show. Sabrina, thank you so much for joining me. I want to kind of dive into who you are and how you decided to get into real estate. So just explain to the audience who's Sabrina Shaw and why are you a real estate agent?
Okay, so this is my fifth year in real estate, and prior to real estate, I was an educator. I was a teacher, I was a high school principal, I was assistant superintendent, and there was just a change in my life that happened, and I decided to go into real estate. It was an absolute great decision. I still consider myself an educator, but the real estate market, the real estate career has been definitely rewarding, and I love being, a part of people's lives. That is, one of the most significant parts in many people's lives. So that's how I got in, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, and you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You went through a big shift. You went from having a paycheck, it sounds like most of your career. I mean, were you an educator straight out of college?
Yes, was an educator straight out of college. And so, and that was one of the easy transitions about being a real estate agent because, being an educator, the pay in Oklahoma has got better for educators, but, it's really not a lot. So it really wasn't hard to meet that paycheck to make what I was making in education.
Walk us through the transition. You left a job where you had a paycheck and you went into real estate, which is complete, self-employment, right? You're an entrepreneur, no guaranteed salary. It's not a transition that's easy for people. Most people go part-time into real estate and sort of do that. Was there any transition like a part-time real estate job, or you just quit the job straight into real estate?
I did quit my position straight into real estate. I did work for a year part-time, putting in 20 hours remotely so that, I could, meet the financial needs that I had. But then I still worked my business, full-time, 40 hours, my real estate business full-time, 40 hours. So I was working, at least 60 hours a week. But, that's what you do when you're self-employed, right?
And you're married with kids, right?
Married, 4 kids. And so, yes, I did have my husband's income, which was definitely helpful. Kids are grown. They were all high school age at that point, so didn't need me. Definitely was still able to do the things with my family, but they didn't need like my constant attention.
Did you come from a family or a background of self-employed people? Is your husband self-employed?
No, my husband's in education. He's a superintendent of schools. So yes, no self-employment in my background at all. So that was new. But I've always kind of been, just side hustle, business oriented. So that's kind of always been like my mindset.
And, I guess being an educator, as far as hours that you put in, I mean, you probably worked, I know a couple teachers and, they work like an entrepreneur. I mean, they come home in the evening, they're grading papers, they're doing work, they're spending their own money, buying supplies a lot of times. And so, as an educator, were you pretty much working all the time, 7 days a week anyway?
Yeah, I was working all the time. And as an administrator, you work even more than that. So yeah, it was constant work. So there was really no transition as far as that went. So it just felt, it felt very, very normal and very what I was used to.
Why'd you pick real estate?
I wanted to go into real estate investment, and I had been, my husband and I, we have some rental properties. So we've been doing real estate, prior to that. So it just was, it just fit. And, I was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And, went from
It's such a
there.
common story. I mean, it
Mhm.
is. I mean, actually, that's why I got my real estate license too. I mean, I started as a contractor a long time ago, and built houses and remodeled houses, and I got to the point where I was using other real estate agents, and I felt like I was being like held back by them
Mhm.
because I felt that that was the only missing part of my career, right? If I was to build a house or renovate a home and turn around to sell it, or I wanted to look for a rental property, I was stuck with these agents and their schedules and their ability, whether they felt like working for me, right? So I got my license exactly for that same reason, and I think it is common story that especially over the last couple decades, where you have all of the fix and flip TV shows and
Mhm.
the flip this house from the Home and Garden channel, to courses that you hear everybody
Mhm.
talk about, be rich, get in real estate. So I think a lot of people, they enter the business, but most of them don't stay in. And most of them don't epitomize it like you, because you deviated from maybe your original plan, where you're like, hey, this is cool, we're going to build a rental portfolio and I'm going to have access to the MLS and I'm going to get us the best deals and I'm going to do that. But you then obviously fell in love with the business of helping buyers and sellers, which is very emotional, navigate the home buying and selling process. So most agents right now, and if you're listening to this video and we're thriving, then hey, maybe you'll still pick something up from this video, this interview with Sabrina, on how she navigates her business. But most agents right now are dropping like flies, right? I mean, they're out. The easy money is over. We came through probably the easiest time for real estate agents. They could just walk out in the middle of the street and like stepping in a mud puddle or something and getting wet. Buyers just attracted to them. Can you help me buy a house? Help me buy a house. And it was easy, right? All you had to do was send them to open houses, show them houses, put in 30 offers, and then they finally would get one from overpaying, and which helped commissions and all these things. And a lot of people are angry at real estate agents because they feel like we were part of that problem. But now you're still busy. So where all of these other agents are struggling to survive, they can't pay their rent, they can't pay their mortgage payments. Why are you so busy right now? And I mean, what do you attribute it to?
Well, I've always treated my business like a business. And I will say, when I first got into real estate, I did think it was going to be a million times easier. I did not think that I would have to be, working like I'm working. But I've always treated it like a business. I get up at 4:15 in the morning. I am very scheduled. I have, a quarterly plan. I have a weekly plan. I have a daily plan of things, that I have to accomplish. To move my business forward, taking care of your sellers, taking care of your buyers, educating yourself, marketing, all those things. So I think I would say that my thing that has helped me the most is that I have like this serve, don't sell attitude. So I want to be of service to people. I want to be of service to my buyers. I want to be of service to my sellers. And I think that if you're going at it with like the service mindset, then that is just going to, you're in it for the right reasons. And so that's going to not come back to you, but that's, what you're going to get, like serve, don't sell. And so I'm never going to be a salesy person. I'm never going to push somebody into something that's not right for them. And so I just, I work to educate.
So you think that you're busy now because you had these systems in place and you're treating it like a business. So, I mean, give me an example. What is the percentage? You get up early in the morning. I've always gotten up early, just construction. I mean, we're on the job site at 6 o'clock in the morning. So 4 o'clock in the morning, it was just, what I had to do to get up, get ready, and get to work. But a lot of agents, I mean, I talk to them. I mean, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you can't even get a hold of somebody until, afternoon. And it's late night in the evenings too. So you're disciplined in getting up. But what is the process that you use that And do you ever deviate from that? Like, is there a time when you're busy that you're not doing the same process?
Of course, life gets in the way. And of course, with real estate, you never know what's going to happen. So certainly there are times where you're not going to be able to follow your plan, but you still have, your weekly accomplishments that that you have to get finished. So, for me, I'm recording video to, educate my market, and that takes a lot of time. Um, I am, marketing for my sellers. I'm researching the market, putting out, blog posts, making sure that I'm aware of what's going on with our industry, studying the stats, looking, okay, what is happening? Are we seeing those price reductions? Are we seeing homes go back on the market? What is our market doing? And you have to do that. You have to be looking at that every week to, keep up to date. So it's just a bunch of little things. One of my favorite books is The Slight Edge. And it's just, the little things over time add up massively. And so I wouldn't say that there's just one big thing that I'm always doing, but it's the little things to stay on top that are so easy not to do. That they can slide by. So, just always doing those little things that keeps me busy.
Do you have an assistant?
I have a virtual assistant. And so I send her things daily and we talk back and forth. And I have a transaction coordinator.
So are these people are pay as you go, or do you pay them a weekly salary? Is it a flat monthly fee, or you just pay them as you need them?
My virtual assistant is a weekly salary, and then my transaction coordinator is per closing.
Is your virtual assistant offshore? Is it local? Mm-hmm. I mean, I hear, I see a lot of people that are, using offshore, workforce.
Yes, my virtual assistant is offshore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so how do you connect? I mean, somebody listening to this, how do you vet an offshore virtual assistant, and what kind of things are you delegating to them?
So I was lucky enough that my mentor used a virtual company, and he gave me, that name. And so I was able to just hire somebody, and it's just worked out perfectly. In that time period, I think I've had 3 different virtual assistants from the same company, but, all a long working relationship. I had them do a lot of marketing pieces for me. I have drives that are shared. Just the tedious little things that you need to be doing every day, but that can take, a certain amount of time. So mainly administrative tasks, things like that, marketing pieces.
Yeah. How much does it cost?
I'm at about $1,000 a month. So.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty reasonable. So maybe $250 a week, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not full time, but yes, very reasonable. And I also have editors. Like I pay for an editing service, for my YouTube videos. So there's a lot of out-of-pocket cost.
Now, obviously, people are watching this on video, on YouTube. I mean, maybe they're listening to it in audio form, but YouTube is something that you have found to be very successful. You have a great channel. You put a lot of time and dedication into that. How many hours a week do you put into your YouTube marketing?
I probably spend 20 to 30 hours a week on YouTube.
Wow. I mean, that's a big part. And is it paying off for you? Is that where most of your business comes from?
I would say probably 40% of my business is YouTube right now, and it's definitely paying off. That's a long game. YouTube is a long game for me, but one that I absolutely love. I love working with the buyers that, find me on YouTube. We have a really great connection because they already know you. So if they're calling you, your personalities kind of match.
When you started your business, and I want to get back to the YouTube a little bit also, because a lot of people, they get frustrated and they give up. You said it's a long game. It is a long game. I believe that it definitely, it supports you being out on the street, right? So when we go to listing appointments, or we have buyers, or people are Google searching, even though you may not even know how, not all the time. I mean, we want to know how people find us, but it's impossible to know. Sometimes people don't even know how but they will say, but I watched your YouTube video.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that that was the reason why they called you. Maybe they were going to call you. Maybe you already went on an appointment. But let's talk about the cost of operating a business, because I feel like a lot of people that become entrepreneurs, self-employed, they just start out, they have this, rosy picture, and we all do. We all have this ideal. We get excited. We get our license. It's like, yeah, I'm starting my own business. You go out and you tell all your friends. You're at the highest height of excitement, right? You just can't wait to go and change the world, right? Help buyers and sellers. And then you get beat up and beat around, and then things happen, and you realize it wasn't exactly the way you anticipated it to be. Everybody, I mean, I don't know anybody that can't tell stories of, war stories, trials that they've gone through and being self-employed, whether it's fighting with your spouse, or your kids arguing with, because, you're torn away, you're working all the time, you're busy. But most people are undercapitalized. They start a business. It doesn't matter whether it's real estate or not. They lose or don't have any type of perception or perspective of how long do I need to provide, money into the company, push money into the company for it to start working and paying me back. What can you tell the audience about, they're starting their own business. Maybe they're married, their spouse has income or a significant other has income that will support them or not? Because before you answer that, I've watched a lot of agents get out of the business because of spousal pressure, right? And what happens, and I've interviewed these agents, like a noose around their neck. They go out, they don't have any business coming in. Their significant others saying, man, I'm working a job. You're spending all this money. It's not working. We're taking good money and throwing it into bad. If this isn't working by next month, you're going to need to get a job, right? And here are the spouses, and most of the conversation when I'm talking to people, it's women that are getting this pressure from male counterpart, and they're saying, like my husband said, I got to get out of this business. I got to get a job. And it's hard to go to work every day when you have that pressure. Like, we can go to work and say, man, we're hoping these things go to close. And that's a different hammer hitting on your head. But when you go home and, well, how was today? Tell us a little bit about, the reality of this, the financial aspect. How much did you invest in your business before it paid off? And what should people expect?
Well, I think that my situation is probably unique compared to other people, because my spouse has always been, very supportive. He also sees me getting up early. He also sees me working. He knows, what I put into the business. So I've never had that pushback from him. I've always had his support. Even, when I first started and when things were hard, actually, he did not want me to quit my job. It scared him to death when I told him, that I was leaving education and that I was going into real estate. That was something. But since then, we've worked through that. And, I'm all but dissertation, and I would have my doctorate. So, education is very important to me. So spending money to learn is something that, that I've always done, that I'll always do. So, I paid, $30,000 for real estate coaching my first year in real estate. Completely worth it to me. With the right mentor, putting yourself around people that are already doing it. So I surrounded myself with, people that were being successful already in real estate, through coaching, through, business systems, just learning to get better and always growing, never thinking that I know it all, always thinking that there are, that there's going to be continual things to learn, continual ways to get better. So it can be stressful. Definitely, with the money aspect, with your paychecks not coming from the hours that you work, but, coming from the deals that you do. So, that's definitely stressful. I've always just tried to have a very big, just put money in to where you just have a great reserve. So you're never for your client's sake, you never want to be like to where that deal is going to be your paycheck on whether you're going to make it or not, because then you're not going to put the best interest of your clients. You're worried about your paycheck. So just having, always having as much of, your emergency account as you can, so you don't have to worry about that. And that, again, am I lucky that I've been able to set that up, that I've been able to do that? I don't think it's luck. I think it's, purposeful work and decisions. But it's not easy. But it's worth it, and you just have to be consistent.
Was there a point in time? I mean, you said that, your husband was very nervous. It reminds me. I remember we had just gotten married, my wife and I. We were pregnant, ready to have our first daughter, and we decided that she was going to stay home. Well, she made more money than I did. I mean, you talk about, that was like, what, of course I was for it, but I was also scared to death. It was interesting because, we had just gotten married. We had just bought a house. We had just taken advantage of the 90-day, same as cash for new furniture in the house. So we just, put a lot of debt on a card, basically an account at a furniture store. And when she decided, she didn't decide, we decided together that she would stay home. And that was really stressful. I mean, going down to one salary where she was the breadwinner essentially at that point in time, because I had just started my business, and just like this video, I mean, suggesting, it takes a good 5, 6, 7 years before you really start to see the payoff of your business if you make it that far. So what was it like? I mean, you invested, you said $30,000 into your education in real estate the first year. I mean, most people can't do that. But what were some of the conversations around the dinner table while you were going through the process of figuring it out?
Again, unique situation, because my husband and I were married previously. And so he had his 2 children from his first marriage. I had my 2 boys from my first marriage. So we have never mingled our finances. So we didn't have to have those conversations. And I, if I would have told him that I was spending, $30,000 on, real estate coaching, it probably would have, blown his mind. And that was something that I was able to pay, over 12 months time. I wasn't able to just put that down. I had to, I was, paying for it monthly, through the program. And so I was able to, close transactions, help people, and, pay that bill. So a lot of those conversations we weren't having because of our situation.
So you intend this gets even more interesting. So you internalized it all. Mm-hmm. I mean, you were in a situation where you're like, man, this cannot freaking fail. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're in a relatively newer marriage, right? Mm-hmm. And your finances are separate. So you're taking your money, your savings, you quit your job, and you were probably thinking like, oh my gosh, do I have to go to this guy and tell him now I'm completely out of money? And now, he needs to take care of me purely because I made a disastrous mistake. So were you thinking that at any given point? I mean, were you watching your bank account go down at all? Or, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, no, I remember there was a time and I just had $2,000 in my account. That was it. Failing was never an option for me. I think once you have to know that you're going to make it work no matter what. So that was always my mindset. But yeah, it was close. And I read books all the time. When you're about at rock bottom, you're 3 feet from gold and you just have to keep going. And then that's where it comes. So when you think that you're so close to, something ending or that it's not going to happen, you just have to keep going. And, that's when you usually find success. You can never give up. And so, I was down to my last $2,000. It was Christmas time. We usually go on ski trips, every year. And I was like, I'm not going to get to take the kids on their trip. It was close. But we ended up making it work. And I hate even saying that because I feel I mean, I know that I'm blessed to be able to like take my kids on a ski trip, and that is my worry. Um, but yeah, it was close, but it worked, and it got better and better. And there's still highs and lows, but you know,
You kind of hit me right in the heart with that, because it's so true. I mean, a lot of people, and this is what people need to understand about self-employment. You have to want it really, really bad. I mean, you can't be weak. You can't be faint. You can't, if you get up every single day and, despite what is going on in your day, what is going on in the backdrop, you can't let people know it. They can't feel it. You can't you can't wear it on your sleeve, because if you're desperate for that check, everyone will see that you are, and you will make bad decisions for your client. You'll push them into something because you need the money more than you should be doing the right thing and helping them. But somehow, if you don't let failure be an option, and you set your systems up to be successful, and you stay on it. It's just like, somebody that wants to, be fit. They want to be able to bench press 400 pounds. There are things that you need to do every single day. Number one, you need to follow people that can bench 400 pounds, right? You need to understand what they do. You need to epitomize what they do and follow their strategies and sponge off of people and learn as much as you can from the pros. You can't be ignorant to that, right? You don't have to agree with everything someone does or you follow them to the T, but you do have to understand there are certain things that you need to do to be successful, and systems are at the top, right? Maybe faith is even higher than that, and knowing that you're called to, or you're operating within your, your calling or something like that. But that's amazing. I mean, I've been there, I've done it. I can remember, we were broke. I mean, we were broke. My gosh, man. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I was working for home builders as a contractor. They were beating me out of money left and right. Home builders traditionally have had a very bad reputation for not paying their bills. And imagine, real estate agents, and I'm not making myself out to be any worse, but, or any better, but real estate agents don't have a lot of operational costs. They don't, right? I mean, the biggest thing is you need a lot less, money than you do starting a construction company, for instance. I needed trucks and equipment and employees and, marketing dollars. And, I had to buy inventory and materials and things like that. And what you do is you hope that you get into a situation to where, you end up bringing in more money than you spend out. But what happens is, then you have to wait for your money. So it was a balancing act of being able to, buy materials for a job, get them delivered to the job, and actually pay for them before I got paid sometimes. And then if I lost money on a job, it crushed me, let alone when people just flat out refuse to pay. You really go into a spiral. And there was several times I had a lot to navigate through and get through. And it was faith and it was family and, just deciding the determination to not fail, right? That was never an option. Giving up was just not on the table. I would expire before I would give up. It was like that kind of, I'm not giving up, right? But what do you think is going to happen to the business? There's a lot going on. If an agent's listening and they're like, yeah, I hear all this, how do I stay hopeful in the business? Because lawsuits are going on like crazy. I mean, now close to us here in Maryland, Pennsylvania, there were just buyer agency lawsuits. Florida, I don't think anybody, you've got them close to you. Missouri was the big one, right? The plaintiffs just won. What do you think is going to happen in this business? You're invested in it. You're 5 years in. You're probably at the point right now where you're ready to get all your money that you invested in the business out. Where do you think we're going?
I have always thought like the barrier to entry has been extremely easy in real estate, and I don't know that is, or I really don't think that that's necessarily a good thing. It has always been easy to be a real estate agent. You take classes, you pass a test, and I think that this could raise the bar for real estate agents. I think a lot of the people that are getting out it's a good thing. But the people that have, a passion for it, that really want to make it work, I think it's going to get harder. But I also think that that's an opportunity, so when there are, crises, when there are things happening that are harder, like that gives you the chance to get better and improve. And so I think it will improve our industry as a whole. I think the agents, that are holding on, like things aren't necessarily meant to be easy. Sometimes, you might have to go get a second job. If you really want to be in real estate, you might have to do some remote work. You might have to, get a second job, do what you have to do to make sure that you can stay in it if that's what you want to do. And, follow people, find people that you want to be like, have that inspiration around you. Don't get sucked into, the terribleness of things, like, try to find, like you said, faith, try to find those things that will get you through it. But just know, like, it might not be easy. You might have to hustle and, do other things to make that work.
What would you tell one of your kids comes to you and says, "Hey, Mom, I'm thinking about being a real estate agent." What do you tell them?
Get on video. Yeah, I mean, marketing, he who markets the most wins. So I would say, serve, don't sell. Have people see you doing real estate. Get with somebody who, I would not want them with me. I think, family, I think sometimes when you work for your family, it can make you not be as good as you could be. So I would want them to go work for somebody that was killing it, and that would make them work hard. But I wouldn't say don't do it.
Would you tell them to join a team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you think a team's the best way to go?
I think for starting out, definitely. If they're, if that's a good mentor, I think having a team is a great thing. And that's how I started. My first year, I did the coaching, but I was also on a team. And so I felt like my first year, I got a master's degree in real estate, and I wouldn't change that a single bit.
You say market, do video, get your voice out there. Eyeballs are currency. We know that, right? But it's hard sometimes to stay motivated on that when 3 people watch your video or watch your post. And Facebook's pretty much impossible. If you don't pay to play on Facebook, I tell people don't even worry about Facebook marketing, because we publish on Facebook because it's the program that we use. It doesn't take any effort when we do a video to push it out to Facebook. We have almost 40,000 people following us on Facebook. And I can tell you, I do a post and I get 3, likes or 1, and no one sees your feed because the algorithms are all based on what you pay it, right? Mm-hmm. YouTube is probably the best for us. And for you, you have a great YouTube presence. You're dedicated, spending 20, 30 hours a week on it. What advice do you have on the different social media platforms, and what do you think is the best place to be? Where?
I think for a newer agent starting out, I don't know that I definitely say YouTube. But again, have that be your long game. And I think, yes, I agree with you 100% on the algorithms for Facebook. But I would say, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, I know there's some people with TikTok. I'm not familiar with TikTok, but I would say share your stories. And your sphere will see you, even if they don't comment, even if they don't like. There are people that are seeing you. And again, if you're consistent and you keep doing things, they might not need a real estate agent, at this very second. But if you stay in front of them, when they do, they might think of you. When someone around them is thinking about real estate, they might think of you. So I think be authentic. I believe that there's enough business for everybody. It's out there. Even though the real estate market is down, people are buying and selling every day. So just that abundance mindset also.
In every market. Going through, I went through the '08 crisis, and, I had a team of 9 people at a company called Long & Foster, and, it was in 7 states. They're still around today. Berkshire bought them. A Berkshire company purchased them a couple years ago. But anyway, like you said, I mean, we want to say be a full-time agent, but if you want to be an agent and you need to pick up a side hustle, you may have to do it, right? If you haven't prepared, like Sabrina has established their business. It's seriously, I mean, guys, look, if somebody spends $30,000 back to college for real estate to learn the industry. I mean, this is somebody, they're epitomizing the business. So what I would say is take a look at yourself and say, are you willing to deep dive? Are you willing, when everyone is running away from the burning building, are you one of those that is going into it, to, help save people? That's a heck of a way to look at it. But how committed are you to your business, whatever business it is? Are you wishy-washy? Is this just a paycheck for you? Are you only in it for the money? And if the answer is, I mean, money's a byproduct. I've always said that. Thank God. I mean, I've always gotten through, no matter how bad business, however bad it got, I always was able to pull through because, like Sabrina said, serving is number one. You have to do it because you love it. You have to serve the people. The money comes from doing that well, right? So, I don't know if it was Zig Ziglar. Somebody said, you can have whatever you want in life if you help enough people get what they want. And treating people like they're the most important person in the world, because in their mind they are. So serving, and we've lost that. And it's not just an old person thing. Like, people want to say, well, you're just you're an older person, and it's not you. It's not the same way anymore. Let me tell you something. Customer service has gone downhill. You want to shine in this world. You want to be a shining star in business. You want to have more business than you can handle and need to step up your game with systems. Care about people. Take your job serious and put them in front of yourself when it comes to what you do for a living. And now in this world, in this market, you'll shine like the brightest star. And, but when we look at, what it's going to take to get through the next, like you said, in 2008, people were still making it. We would say to agents back then, like, what do you do for a living? I'm a real estate agent. What else do you do? Because people knew most agents weren't making money. But guess what? There were some that never stopped making money. There were some that invested into, the curve and started helping the clients that need it the most. They doubled down they became, REO agents. They became short sale negotiators and agents. I mean, they did things that others weren't willing to do, or while they were crying, woe is me, the sky's falling, and were giving up. The ones that were like Sabrina and myself in the industry decided, you know what, we're in it for the long haul. It's our job, and we made it happen. Sabrina, any final thoughts of advice for anyone listening to this video that's saying, I don't know whether I should stay in this business or get in this business? What are some of your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, surround yourself with people that are doing it. And, now we have such a big opportunity with the internet, with the things that we have access to. Read books that empower your mind. We can do anything. Be consistent, be willing to, make the sacrifice to do the things every day and treat your business like a business.
Great advice. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching the video. If you liked it, you can smash that thumbs up. It'll let Sabrina and myself know that you did. And guys, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, you can do so now. Hit the alert bell and you'll know every time we upload content. See you next time.